welcoming our patron and chief guest for the International Human Resource Conference, His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, UAE Cabinet Member and Minister of Tolerance and Coexistence. I would like to welcome all of you to the International Human Resource Conference.
Expressing gratitude to Blue Ocean for organizing and presenting this timely conference.
First panelist is Dr. Sajeev Nair, founder of Limerverse. Please welcome to the stage Miss Aysha Sulaiman, Group Director of Human Resources and Development at Ras Al Khaimah Economic Zone. Please, a big round of applause. Mr. Sergio, our Area HR Director, UAE at Marriott International. And the moderator for this panel discussion is going to be none other than Mr. V.S. Ramachandran, who's the Group CFO of Blue Ocean Corporation. Please welcome to the stage.
So we thought let's have a slight change in the way we conduct this program. So the first session, we are going to have a panel discussion. These are some of the, senior members in the industry, and they are practicing some of the latest in HR practices. So we'd like to hear from them, their view, especially when we are talking about artificial intelligence and metaverse. How many of you know what is the meaning of metaverse? I'm asking the literal meaning of metaverse. Can somebody? I thought Douglas raised his hand. Nobody? Okay. Anybody wants to give an answer? What does metaverse stand for? How does that word generate? Anybody wants to give a try? Yeah? Anybody? No one? I'm surprised. We have been hearing this word metaverse. Sorry? Don't feel shy. HR is the person where you have to be vociferous. If you want to fight for your right, you have to wake up and ask for it. Never feel shy. Anybody from this team wants to talk? Tell me what does metaverse stands for? How does that word even generate? Absolutely. Thank you, Sajeev. Yeah. Meta is the Greek word for beyond. Okay? And verse, universe is the physical world. Metaverse is what we call as the alternate reality world. Okay? So there's been a lot of talk about metaverse, artificial intelligence, and all that. But what is one of the founding technologies which is sustaining this is what we call as the blockchain technology. How many of you have heard this word blockchain? Yeah, I can see quite a lot of people raising their hands. They know blockchain. Don't get it complicated. Block is nothing but a record, okay? So these IT people have a very funny way of making things complex when they are really not so complex. Block is nothing but a record. And blockchain is nothing but, a synchronization of records. The greatest thing about blockchain technology is that there is no central control. It is self-regulatory. So that's how blockchain, the data is immutable in the sense, I think, I don't know what Douglas was talking about digitization. One of the advantages of digitization is, yes, data can be easily retrieved. But that doesn't still mean somebody cannot alter your data. I've seen so many people, you go to the registrar of property and then you find your document is all gone. How many of you had a hack into your bank account? I had a personal account. And I had a personal experience of somebody hacking into my account and swiping away a big part of my balance. Thankfully, I got it back, of course. But blockchain technology is something which sustains the whole edifice of what we call as this metaverse and artificial intelligence. This is going to be just a general discussion. Please feel free. I'm going to kickstart the discussion with the panelists. I'm sure they'll be giving their wonderful experience and insight. But if you got any thoughts, any extra questions, feel free to ask once I finish the first round of questions. Yep. Sajeev, thank you so much for accepting to attend this event. Do you think HR practices are now really ready to accept and adopt this blockchain technology? And if you say yes or if you say no, can you tell me how or why?
It'd be a good question to start with. The answer is yes and no. Interestingly, right now, any forum you go, the talk is about blockchain, metaverse, all those kinds of aspects, right? You actually started the session the right way with asking the question, what is metaverse? Most of the people even haven't thought about it. I think when you look at metaverse and blockchain, we have to keep these two different things. You know, it's not the same. Metaverse is an experiential, immersion-oriented process, and blockchain is a technology. So this is where the complete difference comes in. And when it comes to technology, you know that technology will have impact on every industry, every aspect of the industry. So like the way internet came in years back, that point of time, definitely there must have been some conventions or some conferences where there must have been people asking whether internet will have an impact on HR or not. Yeah. So definitely that must have been happening, that must have happened.
Very true.
The same way we are asking about it, because it's technology. When the technology is changing from a mode of centralization to decentralization, that's what is happening right now. Because we all know that internet has made our life easy. Okay, we can communicate easily, we can do the video calls or whatever. Right now, everything has become so easy with the help of internet. But at the same time, internet also has taken out our freedom. You know, it has taken our privacy out.
Oh.
So everything, you know, Zoom knows, you know, Google knows where you are right now, Ram. Google very well knows. Facebook knows what you're doing right now. So, you know, we are being observed, we are being monitored. So the centralization of this information, which without our knowledge has happened, which includes not just the information, it's about transactions, currencies, everything has happened. Right now we are talking about inflation on the economic side. Who is responsible for inflation? If you stop printing notes, you can actually control that. So somebody is taking a charge, you know, somebody thinks that's all based on sovereign. That is 1972. You know, right now any government can print notes. So what I'm talking about is centralization, even though it has given us some good things, but it has also given us some very worse things.
True.
That is where I believe these new generation guys, especially, they want decentralized, they want everything free. You know, they don't want the kind of tied, everything should not be tied. That's where the decentralization thought started coming in 2000s, or maybe by 2008, 2009, when these all things like the Lehman Brothers crash and all those stuff happened. So if you look at it, the way the technology is changing right now is moving out of the centralization to decentralization, which we call it as the Web 3.0, from Web 2.0. This is a necessary evil, whatever be it is. Marketing, HR, supply chain, whatever it is, all will have to move into this. Metaverse is a different ballgame altogether. Metaverse is only experiential, immersion-oriented things. But technology-wise, I strongly believe that this has to move. And when it comes to HR, where processes and systems play a major role, I think blockchain can resolve a lot of problems. Because number one, in terms of transparency, and number two, especially by creating smart contract, things become very transparent. The employee-employer relation become very strong. Policies can be implemented very easily, primarily because of smart contracts. I will know that what I can expect from you, and you know that what you can expect from me.
So you're voting that blockchain is something which is going to stay and which market has to adopt.
Yeah, whether I vote or not, it will happen anyway. It's going to be the future.
Okay, thank you so much, Sajeev. Aysha, I don't know whether you've been using blockchain technology in your organization, but do you think blockchain technology, how will it assist the hiring process? For instance, you know, how the blockchain technology itself can help you with the hiring process.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good morning. I think the blockchain become as a hottest topic in the talent acquisition part, really. I definitely think that the blockchain will really improve the recruitment process, and it will be easing the process of the hiring for sure by making the verification tools really more efficient for the recruiters and the hiring managers in terms of verifying the background of the candidates, checking on their certifications, checking on their experience and skill set. So it will ease that process, as well as integrating these technologies to the HR processes, starting from the recruitment process. It will really increase the automation level in the organization and reducing the manual interaction and verification tool which will really allow the HR professional to focus more on their strategic role in the HR and be more efficient in providing that support to the management than spending time on the manual part. Also, these technologies, really, the blockchain technologies, providing high level of security. And that is also giving that comfort to the owner, the user, as well as the employer.
Absolutely.
So they can rely on this kind of information to make faster decision, evaluating this candidate in a much better way. To really to put it in a different way, I would say that integrating these technologies all into HR process, it will make the process of screening very easier. It will make the process of making fast decision in the type of skills and the competencies matching with the positions we are opening.
The traditional way of hiring will change a lot, or do you think?
It will reduce the cost, as well as it will reduce the time you need to fill the positions in the organization. It will give a different experience really to the organization, as well as to the candidate. Yes, to integrate that person to the organization. It will start to change the culture, and it will help the organization to manage that change and bring this kind of technology integration to the organization.
Sure.
One of the good part of it also, it will really make the managers as well as the candidates aware about the steps where they are in the hiring steps. And that is very important from the transparency perspective, from really calculating the time we need to fill these positions.
Okay, let me ask Sergio here. I'm sure he must be one of the biggest employers of people. He is part of the Marriott chain, and you know how hotels and the hospitality industry needs people. So I'm going to come back to you later, Aysha, but let me ask Sergio. There are several challenges, in managing the HR practices. Can you say what are the three main challenges in the current HR practice which you wish will be resolved by the blockchain technology?
Well, that's a really interesting question, and I was glad that I chose that. As a HR practitioner, over 20 years in the hotel industry, our biggest challenge is people, right? And so we have to spend more time managing people and working with them than actually processes. So when you think about blockchain, and we talked about it's a set of transactions, right, that happened simultaneously, and they are linked with each other, and allows people to then have a lot more security, particularly when it comes to data management. So, and one thing that I read recently was very interesting, that most people confuse blockchains with Bitcoin. It's not. So blockchain is not Bitcoin, right? However, it is very linked, closely linked, because of course the financial implications of moving money, has adopted blockchain as their main sponsor. So when you think about one of our biggest challenges in HR is payroll. So I would really wish for blockchains to come and overtake the transactions of payroll that we do every day. Because what would happen with that technology is that it will allow us to pay correctly and instantly people. And when you think about industries that rely with freelance workers, casual workers, it would actually make those transactions transparent, secure, and immediate, which for a lot of freelancers is very, very important, right? They want to get paid as soon as they finish the work. So for me, that's the first one that I think is really important that we could have. Okay, and then obviously data management, very important. We hold a lot of information from people, so it is important.
At Salem, it's an HR expert, could be. Many people, maybe some employees or a new generation, they escape from their reality to the metaverse. So they make a metaverse the escapable place from their real problems. And some of them, maybe some employees, and we experience this as well, they become very busy in that world to the degree that they forget their real task and their job. And many companies, they put some technology to stop using that technology to make those people focus on their job. My concern or my question, how we protect our new generation. And one of them, by the way, he got married in metaverse. He said, I don't afford real merit, so he got married in metaverse. I don't know how, but it's happened.
Sure. So your concern is how we are going to protect the future generation?
Yes.
From overuse of technology or from metaverse itself?
No,
I don't
it's
think
from
metaverse you cannot
metaverse
protect.
and addicting to metaverse or abusing the metaverse, especially employee, and we need a message also to HR practitioners how to maintain that.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think I'll ask Sajeev to answer. He's the right guy.
See, in the metaverse space, where I'm not just talking about the blockchain, the metaverse space, if you look at it, because the concern is always about the metaverse rather than the blockchain. Because people can get the experiential immersion feelings and all those kinds of things out there in the virtual world. So you cannot stop that to happen anyway, because children are going to be on games. Now, can you gamify what you want to tell them? Can you gamify learnings? Can you gamify teachings? Can you gamify education? Okay, can you gamify training? Like our friend in the beginning told about how they are doing a kind of a 2D level metaverse in terms of training. So that's the only one way we can actually reach out to them, because we work on a metaverse project, and one of our IT technology, I don't want to say IT, technology heads who joined, I told him that you will get your offer letter by next Monday. He said, don't worry about it. I just send me the contract address. The smart contract address. That's it. What he requires. So he's 23. I cannot now bring him back to the old system of induction and all those kinds of things. He's in a different level, and he says that make sure that you can actually put any types of smart contracts in the system to monitor what I'm doing. Not a problem, but don't tell me that you have to be in the office at 10 o'clock. So it's a different world. So we'll have to really adjust. The generation which majority of us belong to may have a tough time, but at the same time we'll have to accept it.
Can I just also perhaps offer a different perspective from, because I come from the hospitality industry, right? And something that struck me this morning was that it was brought up the word experiences, right? That will never be able to take away. So the industry that has bounced the fastest since the pandemic has been the hospitality industry. And we're very lucky here in the UAE that we have been in an environment that's always been very secure, so therefore we have bounced back. So for me, how we protect our employees from the metaverse is by not forgetting that they are humans and offer them those experiences that you cannot get in that environment. That environment will exist. I think it's fantastic for training, when you are training employees, to give them the environment where they can actually experience, for example, checking a customer without actually being there. But then you have to give them that experience, right? Then you have to put them in the front desk and get them to experience. So for me, that's really how we need to look at it, is a combination of both. Is yes, a generation is growing up. I've got 2 teenagers that cannot live without their phones or internet, but at the same time, I make sure that they, I take them to the park and, to the cinema. And so I think it's a combination of both that will really help us protect our human side of our business.
Just want to add one thing, that while we are going toward this journey of change, it's very important as an HR that we create that culture of creating the balance between these two things. It's very important that the HR element, along with the leaders and the buy-in we have, we ultimately define the culture we are looking for and what are the balances we are putting in. So we don't give them the full, the open floor to decide what they have to reach, where they have to reach. I think we need to decide where they have to reach, and they need to follow us by creating that culture on that part. I
think the technology itself, I think, is not going to get them kind of addicted at the moment. I don't know, I think it was Sangeet who was talking. You see those headphones, those bulky headphones, you can't wear them for more than 45 minutes. So even assuming you're going to be on metaverse, I think it's going to be probably in bursts of 30 minutes. And you could even get, motion sickness if you kind of wear that kind of a technology.
Ram, just to add to that, that days are gone. Now you are going to have AR glasses, which is coming up in the next 3 months.
Okay.
Which is going to weigh 50 to 70 grams.
But how long can you wear it?
You can wear it any amount of time. You know,
Wow.
it looks like this. It's not AR glass, by the way.
Are you
And
already wearing one?
you can actually project 250-inch screen in front of you. So you cannot stop that.
Yeah, he's right. But as you know, everything finds a balance in itself. Like I remember, you know, the society will find the balance. Anything of overuse is always harmful. You need to hit that balance so that moderation will come over a period of time. So you will always see any technology always comes with application, ease of use. How do I make things easy for you? The regulation comes only later on, always. I mean, the auditors always catch up only later. The technologists always come up with the technology. Then the fraudsters find a way how to misuse the technology. And then the regulators come behind them and then say how the controls can be introduced. So your concern is definitely very real. How do we wean away people from getting hooked onto this kind of thing? Because I don't know whether you remember, it was a very sad incident. There is a game called PUBG. I don't know how many of you play. I have never played this game. And there was this boy who was so addicted. And when his mother actually asked him to stop playing that game, he actually ended up killing his mother. Now that's the extreme level of addiction things can go. And this happened just recently, I think about 1 week ago or something. So definitely technology is addictive. And as you rightly say, somebody wants to escape from their reality. It is possible. But imagine if I were to tell somebody what a dinosaur looks like, and I show some bits of, bones on the ground, still the person cannot really perceive what a dinosaur really looks like. But you showed them the movie called Jurassic Park. Today, how many of you can visualize what a dinosaur could look like? But now that's only in 2D. Now let's assume you go into 3D metaverse world where you can actually shake hands with the dinosaur. That'll be a completely different experience. So what metaverse is all talking about is immersive experience. Because physicality, there is a limit. How many of you can attend this program? Probably 200 people, 300 people. And of course, thankfully, COVID has not restricted the number of people. Otherwise, you would probably be even lesser. But imagine in a metaverse world, probably 1 million people could be attending this event. So technology has got its own pluses and minuses. At the moment, there appears to be a little bit less of regulation, but I think it will come in due course of time.
Yeah, so just returning back to Sergio's comment just before the break, because I think we have a couple of things happening simultaneously. One is blockchain real or hype? Number two is the confusion that Sergio mentioned between blockchain and cryptocurrency. And number three is the personal concern of an invasion of privacy. These things are all reality of the factors that are either limiting or contributing to adoption. So the question to the panel is, what do we need to do to turn blockchain from an opportunity to a realized benefit?
I would rather say that, if you look at it business case, because when we are discussing about business cases, so when it comes to business cases, we have to look at blockchain from a smart contract perspective. So how many of the business, related aspects can be put into smart contracts, what we need to look at. And some people say that, I love blockchain, but I don't like cryptocurrency. Sorry, it won't work, because you name it cryptocurrency or digital asset or virtual digital asset, digital token, whatever name you put it, without that, a blockchain doesn't work. Because in a blockchain, if an entire smart contract has to be completed, that means your remuneration also has to be completed in that. So which has to be in a digitized token. So that, some people call it as cryptocurrency, it can be virtual digital asset, but there should be, the transaction will be complete, then only the smart contract is complete. You cannot, for the transaction, you cannot go to the bank now. Now to convert that virtual digital asset into currency or a fiat currency is a different ball game altogether. So I would rather say that these are very tightly connected. Whether that digital token is used as a tradable tool or not is a different issue altogether. But without a digital asset, you cannot actually complete a blockchain-based smart contract.
Yes, sir.
I just think that one of the things I'm always very aware of is that we're scared of things that we don't understand, right? And as human beings, it's natural for us to be worried when you don't understand. When you start to look closely at the actual technology, that it's about selling the advantages, for example, of, yes, we talk about privacy, but at the same time, your information is securely protected, right? We all hate to be hacked when we get those emails when you think, shall I click on this and then my bank account is going to be completely deleted, right? So this is about selling those advantages and the fact that, for example, with blockchain, it happens instantly, right? So for example, getting paid straight away. We all worry that our employers may not pay us our salaries at the end of the month for whatever reason, right? So for me, it's about selling the benefits. And those benefits will only be able to be sold when we ourselves understand the magnitudes and the advantages of this technology. Because I think it's still at the very early stages, right? And a lot of people don't really know yet what it means. And I think that's what we need to move as HR practitioners, to understand really how it can help us do our job and our people better.
I would just go one step back before the implementation. I think we need to choose this technology would benefit us. We should not keep it as a wider concept that this is a trend, just let us bring it and implement it in the organization. We need to choose and implement that step by step, and just add it to the benefits to the operations and the development of the system in the organization. Because sometimes you just bring the new technology, but it doesn't cope up with the existing technology we are using. So basically, you are not really adding value. You are just destroying what was fixed, basically. So I think we'll take it step by step. We just use the one which are benefit to us, and then that can reflect really positively on how that is benefiting to the organization or the operations we are having.
There's a tendency to define Bitcoin as blockchain technology. Sorry, it is like trying to define internet is equal to email. Email is part of internet, but internet is much bigger than, email. Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is part of the blockchain, but blockchain is much bigger than that. I'm sure during the course of the day, there will be other speakers who are going to explain to you aspects like smart contracts, which we have been talking about, the immersive experience, all those things are going to come later in the day.